So, Maitlyn, we'll go ahead and get started. First and foremost, I want to thank you for sitting down with us and talking with us about this subject. And I know it's a tough one. My first question, and I kind of mentioned it before we sat down, is really to just get an update on you. It's been 2 weeks today since the Amber Alert was issued. There's been a lot that's happened. What's this last 2 weeks been like for you and for your family?
It's been rough. Mostly it's been rough for my daughter, my 3-year-old. She doesn't understand why she can't call Sissy or why Sissy hasn't came home yet, because this is a very long time for her to go without seeing her sister. We're coping. We're trying to function. It's been long. It's been hard, but it feels very chaotic at the same time. A lot of moving parts.
I think the public has been so gravitated toward what has happened to you and your family, because it was said at the vigil, and I think it was said very well by one of the pastors, that this could have been anyone's kid out there. This could have been anyone's child. This could have been anyone's pain. And I think a lot of people have tried to stand in your shoes to understand how you feel, but we can't. We can't understand that. Is there any way you can tell us what it's like to stand in Maitlyn Gandy's shoes today?
I'm sad. I'm angry. I'm confused. I am doing my best. But to stand in my shoes, I don't know how to describe it. I don't. I wish I did, so other people could understand. I've been very scared. I don't sleep very often. I don't sleep for an extended period of time the way people are supposed to. Noises at night scare me. I triple check my doors every night. I hold my 3-year-old tighter and I'm scared to let her go. Everything's just very, very scary and very, very sad.
When we met 2 weeks ago, the only thing I knew about Athena was that she was missing and that people were working tirelessly to try and find her. Before the Amber Alert was issued, and before I think the country and the area got to know her, you knew her very well, and you knew her as, her mom. Can you tell us just a little bit about her and just about who she was to you while you were living with her and teaching her and instructing her and raising her for her 7 years?
Athena was, I think the way her teacher worded it was very polite. Athena was very free-spirited and wild, and she loved to jump in muddy puddles, and she was very smart. I said I wasn't gonna cry. I'm sorry. I do okay until I start talking about her. Athena was a lot of things. I'm sorry. Just 2 seconds.
It's okay.
That's the thing, it's not okay. Athena was very free-spirited and loving and kind. And I think a lot of things that people miss when they see me is not me. It's the fact that Athena would run up to anybody and scream out their name and give them hugs and say hello because she didn't know a stranger. Raising her was the best 7 years of my life. And I just expected a lot more years. So I don't know how to describe raising her, because it was just, raising my girls has always been everything to me. And I was robbed of that.
When we spoke for the very first time, you said none of this added up. You said this didn't make sense. There's no way she would have just disappeared, wandered off. Your instinct was correct. What was it like for law enforcement, for you as a mom, knowing that nothing was adding up? You know, the minute that they told you what had happened or that she had been found. Can you walk us through that moment, or do you feel comfortable walking us through that moment?
When we found out originally that Athena was no longer with us, Sheriff Aiken was there, and we had been escorted to a room, myself, Athena's father and stepmother, and then my dad, Jacob's father, and Jacob's mother, because I asked for our parents to be there. And one of the FBI trauma agents, she had escorted us into that room, and I knew from the moment that Sheriff Aiken walked in that he was going to tell me everything that I had felt had happened. It's hard to look people in the face when you're giving them the worst news of your life. And so I knew when he walked into the room and he was looking down, and he had his lips rolled in, I guess is how I would describe that. I don't remember what he said. I remember feeling broken and empty, and I couldn't breathe. I literally stopped breathing, and it took my dad and the FBI trauma agent to make me start breathing again. I don't know how to describe that feeling. I don't. And I think a lot of people in those experiences try to block it out. And I just remember the feeling of not being able to breathe and crying. I don't know how to answer some of these questions. I'm sorry.
That's okay. What you're saying is totally fine. We just want to know, based off of what you told me originally and knowing what had happened, you know, how you handled that as a mom. And I want to ask, based off of, you know, what he spoke to and told investigators, allegedly we now know that he told police that he accidentally backed into Athena and then put her in the van, that she was alive at the time, she was breathing, and that he decided to take her life because he was in fear of the consequences that would happen. I know you've read that. I know you've been told that. And we know that people are trying to verify and get the facts correct. But if that alleged confession is true, that he could have done the right thing and your daughter would be alive, how do you react to that?
I've thought about that a lot, actually. Jacob and I are very forgiving people. If that were the case and Athena was not injured, or even if, you know, she had a few bumps and scrapes, he could have just driven away. We wouldn't have went after him legally. We wouldn't have done anything. We would have forgave him because accidents do happen. But he chose to do more. And what he did is unforgivable. I did Athena's hair, and I dressed her before the funeral. I did all of that myself. And I have a hard time believing that Athena couldn't have just walked away. in my opinion, and I'm not a medical examiner by any means, Athena could have just walked away. And I wish he would have let her.
If you could say anything or even ask anything to the suspect, is there anything you'd like to ask or say to him?
I don't think he would ever give me the answers that I want or that I think I need to hear. If I could sit down in front of him, I think what I would like to tell him is that he is nothing, but Athena is absolutely everything. And I will make sure that everybody in this world knows that he is nothing and she is everything.
Death penalty. Law enforcement, prosecutors say that they want to seek it and go after it in this case. It's not at the DA's office just yet. But hearing that news, how do you as a mom in this situation or react to the punishment that they're seeking?
I support the death penalty. In any sentencing that may come, as long as it's to the fullest extent that we can get it to. Every breath that he takes is one that my daughter doesn't.
The funeral was really beautiful. And that was something that you told me over the phone. And you said that everybody wore pink. It was a bright occasion. Disney songs were sang. I think that you, and sharing obviously that you did her hair, I think that you, if anything, were very pleased that you gave her, you know, a final send-off that was very fitting for, like, as you said, a Viking princess. Yes. Can you walk us through just that day and how there was a lot of things and a lot of people that did a lot of things for you, I think, to make that day a little easier? Yes.
We used Hudson and Torres Family Funeral Home from Bridgeport, Texas, and they were very understanding. I didn't want people to feel sadder than they already felt. I wanted people to see Athena for Athena. I wanted them to know what Athena loved. So Athena's father and I and her stepmother picked out Disney songs, happy Disney songs that she would love, I have recordings of her just screaming. She wasn't the best singer in the world, but she definitely tried. Yeah. And Jay Hudson did a lot for us. He was a very, very kind man. The church was pink as could be. There was pink flowers. There was more stuffed animals. And there was Athena. And she looked beautiful. She had a big JoJo Siwa bow on, very sequin and sparkly. And she had a beautiful felt pink dress on. And of course, her eternal bed, as Trey calls it, it was beautiful. She looked very comfy, very warm. And I wanted people to see Athena for as beautiful as she's always been.
A little girl who seemingly has no enemies.
I don't know one person in this world that's just never not loved Athena. It's hard to not love a child in general, but it was extremely hard not to love Athena.
You told me over the phone that the hardest part about that day was seeing her face for the last time.
I didn't realize how hard that would be. I guess I didn't think about it. I mean, I knew ultimately that that would be the last time, but the actual reality of it, when it set in, it was rough. So I was the one who saw her face last, and I closed her casket before her daddy and her uncles and her grandfathers carried her out. And I held her hand and I kissed her. And I told her how sorry I was and how much I love her. And that was the last time I saw her.
The community has been incredibly helpful to you and your family. And a lot of people have came to know the name Athena Strand. You know, how can you kind of tell people about that love, you know, that you've kind of witnessed over the last 2 weeks? Because it's not just been people locally, it's been people from all around the world.
It was very unexpected, and I'm more than grateful, but I don't think there are words to describe. There are no words to describe how grateful I am, and all of Athena's family is. The outpour from law enforcement and other agencies that responded to her case, as well as the hundreds of, if not thousands of volunteers. And of course the churches and Jay Hudson. I know I wouldn't have made it through without those people. I just wish that they would have actually got to, I'm sorry. I wish everybody that helped me find Athena would have actually gotten to meet Athena as Athena, because everybody would have loved her so much more than they think that they already do. It was a privilege to know Athena and to raise her and to be her mother. And I just want everyone to know that I am very grateful for everything that everyone's done. The love and the prayers are felt. And sorry. I keep thinking of her face.
The thing I want to ask last is, you want Athena's name to be remembered. That's one of the reasons why you're doing this story with us, or at least sitting down with us and just talking with us about this. And we appreciate that. But even before sitting down, I remember the day after the conference, you know, where they talked to us about what had happened. You were on Facebook because people wanted to know about your daughter. People were eager to learn about your daughter. And you were not afraid to type away just a few little things that people could understand about her. I think that's a very admirable thing to do as a parent who's just been through a catastrophic moment, to not let people lose focus on the fact of who this person was that we lost. You know, can you just tell us what you want people to take away from all of this as a lawsuit comes out, as we learn more about the suspect, you know, as this story continues down this line and checks boxes off? What is the one thing you want us to remember?
That Athena was a real little girl. She was very, very loved. And to I want people to know not to take the time with their children for granted. Because I would do anything to go back to May 23rd of 2015 and relive every moment from that time forward. That's what I want people to know. I want people to know her. She's not just a name and she's not just a face. She was a real little girl and she was taken from me. And we need to do better to protect our children and expect better of other people.